Now, live from the 13 Now Digital News Desk, this is the Friday Night Fever Afterburn, sponsored by Beef O'Brady's.
Hello, everybody. If you haven't joined us before, I'm Courtney Mims. This is
Sam Granville.
And we are so excited to break down week 8 of the high school football season with you guys. I think we just need to get right into it because we had so much to talk about, so much to dissect. So let's go over those scores for you guys. Hi, Nanny. Hi, Gary. Hey, David. And hey, Latoya. We're going to talk about your Walton Braves in just a second. Oh, yes. We are going to talk about those Walton Braves tonight. All right, let's go over some of the scores. Mosley takes down Rickards 28-13. There was a lot on the line for this game tonight. We've talked about it all week. It was homecoming. It was game of the week. It was homecoming for Mosley, a homecoming win. They now go to 8-0 on the year, and they also won a district title tonight with the win over Rickards. The first time they've done that since 1981. 1981.
We weren't alive then.
We weren't alive then. Okay, we're just going to say it on the show right now. So that's a long, long time. So amazing job to the Mosley Dolphins. We'll break down that game in just a second because I want to bring up a few things I saw on the sidelines in that one. Okay. Moving on, you went to Chipley-Holmes County. Chipley dominating Holmes County tonight, 21-6 over in Port St. Joe. Port St. Joe took down Bay 48-28. Weewahitchka picks up a win over Cottondale 38-28. And then if we can go to some of those other scores tonight, Walton, like we just said, a great win over the reigning 1A state champions, giving the Gators their first loss of the season. Walton Braves,
and
right
that's
there.
What, their third loss in 3 years?
Yeah, I think I think it's like their they've been on a win streak for so long. I was looking at tweets. I think it was at some insane win streak. So they broke that. Your Walton Braves over in Defuniak Springs. You better be celebrating tonight. We're going to talk about that game in just a second. I want to get to some of these other finals. South Walton with a close win over North Florida Christian, 55-54 over there in Tallahassee.
Somehow they just find ways to win.
They find ways to win. But I like the Seahawks for doing that.
Incredible.
They're incredible. North Bay Haven gets shut out by Liberty County. Liberty County on a 5-game win streak right now. I know we have some Bulldogs fans over here. Wow, what a game over there in Liberty County tonight for them. Another win for the Bulldogs. Rutherford on Thursday night. This was the Thursday night game.
Last night.
Rutherford beat Bozeman 34-20. And I believe we have one more score slide to get to. I am correct. Graceville picks up. I cannot talk tonight.
We'll get there.
Picks up their first win of the season, 28-12 over Vernon. Franklin County falls to Bronson, 58-0 or 56-0. Excuse me. Mariana picks up a win over McClay, 28-7, and Sneads beat Jefferson County, 28-0. John, we had a lot of nominations for Game of the Week, but I think South Walton over NFC is the winner. Yeah, I mean, I think South Walton over NFC could be the winner, but let's talk about this Walton Baker game because I think that should deserve some credit for Game of the Week. We picked Mosley and Rickards because there was a lot on the line, but we have to bring in Thomas Schultz. Blah, blah, blah. Yay, Thomas. Yay.
Round of applause.
You're gonna...
Always a great welcome when I come in here.
Hey, Thomas, the fans love you. They love you coming on the show. We get so many good compliments when you come on with us. You have to tell us about this Walton Baker game because I texted you during the game, and I was like, whoa, wait a second. What? Mm-hmm. How is Walton beating Baker right now?
Wait, who's winning right now?
Yeah, are you sure you got the score right? You sure you don't need glasses?
We go 7-0, we're like, oh, okay. 14-0,
oh, okay.
14-7, we're like, all right, Baker's coming back. And then they just 38-7 run away with it over in Walton, Defuniak Springs. I mean, incredible game. I got to shout out their running back, Jameer Campbell. He had a fantastic game. Of course, Keontae Miller, their quarterback, they were just running him up the middle. I mean, look, he's a big guy. He can run over a lot of linebackers, and he was doing that tonight, too.
He's a big guy. He can get through. Let's talk about something that we thought was going to be a factor in this game. Wasn't a factor in this game, and why you thought that. I have my own thoughts. I know you had your own thoughts. We kind of broke that down a little bit. But Baker, Caleb Wagner, Derrick Henry Jr. Yeah, as he beat Derrick Henry. If you haven't been catching up, I love that. Derrick Henry Jr. as he beat Derrick Henry's high school single game rushing record against South Walton actually a few weeks back. So he beat that record with 535 yards in a single game, people. In a single game, he's been a fabulous running back for the Baker Gators over there. He also leads right now in rushing in the state of Florida. He leads by far, is the best rusher in the state of Florida. We didn't see him at all tonight.
We did not. He was playing. He didn't get many rushing attempts, though. I mean, really, Baker was running their offense through Ryan Fleming, as well as Garrett McClendon. We didn't really see maybe the best running back in the state, at least in the 1A division, which is shocking.
Yeah.
They were using him in a lot of stunts, a lot of different ways, almost as a decoy.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to ask. Was it almost like we know this is your plan to shut down our best player, Caleb Wagner, so we're going to treat him as we're going to try and get some other guys going tonight, right?
It seemed like it, and at some point you have to think, all right, well, if this isn't working, this whole decoy scheme isn't working, why aren't you going back to Wagner? But they just stuck with what they were doing, and this is a guy where, he's one of the best players. He might have been the best player in this game, but he was a non-factor. And we have to give credit to Walton Stephens because
and that's what I was about to say. John Bronk just said Matt Brunson, who's the coach over there, usually doesn't get beat like that. Walton just has better players, I reckon. I don't think it's just better players. I think it's a better defense. Yeah. I think that's what it was. They shut them down on every opportunity that they have, right? Except one. Well,
and the thing is, when you look at the Baker offense, it's kind of this zone run scheme that they do. So there's a lot of misdirections. You don't know where the ball is going to go. But Walton did tonight. They knew exactly what they were doing. And like you mentioned, Courtney, when I got back to the station tonight, they're just bigger. They just have guys that just clog holes. Their defensive line was in the backfield all night long. Baker's offensive line just couldn't hang with them tonight. And those linebackers were filling those gaps. Those safeties were coming in. And when you know a team's going to run to the extent that Baker ran tonight, it made it really easy for a really talented Walton defense to come in and just attack and play really great prevent run.
And I think that is 100% what happened tonight. I think that's where you see Walton, though. I mean, we've got to give him credit. And Tom, our boss over here at News 13, you probably also noticed him on the News 13 evening shows. He said, wait a second. So Walton beats Baker, but Baker beats South Walton, but then Walton loses to South Walton. So weird, right? It's a little bit of a run around.
Full circle. And in the comments I'm seeing Miss Latoya Bell here saying Wagner wasn't feeling it tonight. He was getting ice before the game, so maybe an injury could have played a factor into his minutes tonight.
Wow, but Latoya with that knowledge
I know,
there.
Right there. We should get her on the show.
We need to get her on the show. She's out here giving us the knowledge.
Wagner possibly hurt tonight, and Walton took advantage.
And the thing is, the Walton players, they were saying that on the sideline, too. They said, two doesn't look right. He's not feeling right now. And they were able to see that and be able to say, okay, well, if they're not going to give him the ball, we know that we don't really have to maybe account for him to the extent that we obviously would and probably have been preparing for all week. So instead, he's running off. He's trying to be a decoy. They're not even worried about him. They can hone in on those other two backs.
Exactly. I 100% agree with you. And honestly, we do have to give hats off to Walton, though. They had a great game plan going into this game, a statement victory. I'm excited to see what this Braves team can do for the rest of the season, right, Thomas?
Yeah, this is my second time over at Walton, and both times they've been very, very impressive. This game and Mariana. In both games, we went in saying, you know what, they're probably the underdog here, and they came out with statement victories.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Thomas. We always appreciate your insight every week on Friday Night Fever, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Always a blast.
Yeah. Well, we got to talk about a few other games tonight. Any news on the Mosley injuries? Michael, I don't have any news on the Mosley injuries, but I was going to bring up that game with Sam to break down a little more. Mosley, and I believe it's one of their best offensive linemen, and I'm forgetting his name right now. Maybe Michael can help me out with that. But one of their best offensive linemen went down in that game.
I hate to see that.
Oh, gosh. It crushed my heart to see it because Sam, really, I think that line is going to struggle without him if he doesn't, come back. I mean, that's a tough when you lose guys like that are so integral to, an offense or a defense or whatever. You might not hear them every week on the show, right? You might not hear them, but they're going to feel the loss. If they don't get him back next week, they're going to feel that.
Right, and I mean, we're giving the credit to, the Randys and Josiah and, all these guys that are getting all the skill touchdowns and stuff, all their yards this year. But that line on both sides of the ball for Mosley this year has been so good. Impressive. And, at 8-0, this is a team we've been saying all week long. I mean, all year long is just, a contender. And who was that player?
It was Ryan Stevenson. That's what our Spencer just said it, and I couldn't remember, and I appreciate you, Spencer, for telling it. But we do have to talk about this Mosley game besides the injuries. And, Michael, we hope we can give you an update on those injuries, but I don't believe we're going to get them tonight. So stay tuned to News 13 to find out, why did I say figure out? To find out the status of those players. But let's talk about this game tonight, Mosley. This was a big game for them. After 3 weeks on the road, they come back home. They had the home crowd. They were hyped tonight. They were feeding off of them. But then we start off the game, and Mosley doesn't have two of their best offensive guys out on the field. They don't have Josiah McCall. He's not dressed out. And they don't have Chris Culver. Wow. So I was thinking, okay, someone points that out to me. I'm going, oh no, how's this going to go? I'm not so sure. But let me tell you, it was the Randy Pittman show tonight. He picked up the slack of everybody else. Cole Horton and him were electric tonight, just electric on that offense. And especially Randy, because we don't say his name super. Yeah, he's a big part of Mosley and he's a big part of their offense. But every week we're like, okay, he's in the highlights. He's not in the highlights. This week he made the highlights. He was the highlights. He was the show. Randy Pittman with 3 touchdowns for Mosley tonight. So great job to Mosley, especially since, again, we've said this before. I'm going to say it again. We talked to our good friends over in Tallahassee, WTXL. Allison Posey does a great job as the sports director over there. I texted her earlier this week. I said, Allison, how good is this Rickards team? Just tell me honestly. And she goes, Courtney, they're really good. They're really, really good. They got a lot of guys back from their team last year, which made a state finals appearance. So that's a team that went all the way. They got a lot of those players back. And to be fair, they had a lot of their quarterback was explosive. He was running all over the field. He was giving the Mosley defense fits sometimes. And I was going, man, if he just gets going. But no, Mosley managed to hold them off, get the win. And I thought that was so, so huge for this Dolphin squad.
No, I mean, and like you were saying, Randy Pittman, it was his night tonight, and, as fun as it is seeing him in the green and orange jersey, I can't wait to see him in a garnet and gold jersey in a couple of years.
Say that for all the FSU fans on here.
For all the FSU fans watching, just wait till you hear that name called in Doak Campbell Stadium, because I promise it's coming in the next couple of years. But just an absolute great win for Mosley tonight, 8-0, and we've been saying it for weeks now. Are they contenders? They're contenders.
They're contenders. Sorry, we're going to say it right here, right now. This was the game that they needed to win to prove that they're serious about a state championship. And I'm going to say that they are serious about bringing a state championship back to Bay County for football this year. That's nuts to me to think about, making all these first, one of their players, Banks Myers, said to me, he said, we wanted to make history, and we are doing that. And that's happening this year. So great for Mosley. We're going to move on to another team. I see a lot of people talking about Bluntstown. Bluntstown was actually off this week. They had a bye week. But guess who they take on next week? They take on those Baker Gators. So, might be our game of the week. I think we might have to make that.
It definitely should be.
Definitely should be. If Caleb Wagner is back and healthy, completely healthy, 100%, that is going to be a game. So I'm very excited to see that one. But for everyone who's asking, we're not ignoring Bluntstown. They just were off this week. So if you don't see your team, most likely they were off. So we do.
I'm seeing a lot of comments from Wewa Hitchka as well. And, we were corrected in the comments earlier. They said number 14 jersey was actually our man Alex Williams.
Oh,
we called the freshman number. I guess when you're the senior, you get to take the freshman's jersey. He lost his jersey tonight, 14. That's Alex Williams. Glad to see him back.
I'm glad to see Alex Williams back as well. I'm sorry that we gave the freshman. I kept looking at him? And when we were writing the highlights tonight, we go really fast through. We don't have long to turn the highlights. We get about 20 minutes to turn all the highlights you see in the show. So
makes a lot of sense now seeing him run down the field.
It makes a lot of sense.
I know that guy.
Yeah, I know that guy too. So it makes a lot of sense. It's good to see Alex Williams. It is hard though sometimes during the shots to tell, hey, is that them under the helmet? You can't really tell. So thank you for correcting us on that. We appreciate it. Sorry we didn't get it right for the highlights. Just let us know if update those rosters. Let us know. We've had a lot of jersey swaps and everything. So if we ever get something wrong, just let us know. Well, 14 for Weewalt was Alex Williams. So that, John, that is correct. He was Alex Williams. We did get that wrong in the highlights tonight because the roster has him listed as another number. So, but Alex Williams, it is good to see him back, especially since that injury a few weeks ago. It's nice to see him doing a lot for the Gators. I think that's what they were missing, right, was Alex Williams.
They were. I mean, as far as, there's a lot of good football players on that team, but he's their top athlete. And, he's certainly
and an all-around athlete.
Right. All-around athlete, state champion in weightlifting and the quarterback. And, he's going to be playing at the next level next year, I have no doubt. Yeah. But, coming in, and it's a good victory for Weewalt tonight. Strong victory.
Strong victory for Weewalt, especially since people asked me, really, what's going on with Weewalt? And I wanted to say, they don't have Alex Williams back, they don't have Alex Williams. He needs to be healthy and good and out there. Brian, you say don't see Baker and North Florida Christian lose on the same week very often. You don't see that. But guess what? North Florida Christian has lost twice in a row now because they lost to Bluntstown last week, and Bluntstown put up 70 points on them.
Basketball
70 points on North Florida Christian. They absolutely crushed them. I think North Florida maybe scored somewhere around 40, I believe. So, they put up points too. But Bluntstown, man, they just went off. That's why I think the Tigers might give Baker a run for their money next week. They don't know. They don't know what they're going up against.
Right, and if you look at that Walton Baker score, and like we said, it's still quite shocking to probably everybody but Walton.
Yeah.
That team over there, they
Walton
have done an incredible job. Coach Keith White over there getting that team together, but just kind of set up next week, Baker coming off a loss, something that doesn't happen often.
Something that doesn't happen often.
Bluntstown coming
their
off
first
a bye
loss
week.
of the season,
Right.
too.
First loss of the season. Probably, third loss in the last 3 years. This team doesn't lose. They're coming off of getting blown out by Walton tonight. Bluntstown coming off scoring 72 points, then a bye week. These are two colossal 1A teams. They're going to meet next week. Hopefully, Caleb Wagner will be healthy.
The B-Town and Baker game will be a regular season game of the year. I agree with you, Blake. I agree with you. It's going to be hard to make an argument for any other game to be our game of the week. I think I circled that one first, and I was like, that's our game of the week that week. Didn't I? I think I was like, yep, that's it. That's
that is one that we have been eyeballing all year long, and I'm excited to.
You're ready for
I'm
it.
going there.
You're ready for it.
I'll see you in Bluntstown next week. That's where I'll be.
Sam will be there next week. Okay, we do have to get to something because we teased it in our Friday Night Fever show. Right. We have a play of the night.
Play of the night.
And it was a cool.
It was incredible.
It should get on SportsCenter top 10.
Right. If this play is not on SportsCenter by the end of the weekend, then I'm going to be very disappointed over here.
Look, oh my.
What a catch.
It's just nuts to watch it again. So this was in
my man, and then the dance.
Yeah, the dance. And not only that, but he has a really cool dance after the end. That's amazing. Okay, so here's the slow-mo. It's in the Port St. Joe Baker game. Colin Amison pitches it to Luan Zaccaro. Am I going to say that? Junior. And bobbles the ball, but still makes the catch. You see that, and I was like, no, he doesn't have it. No, he doesn't have it.
No, I was like, oh, the ball definitely touched. I slowed it down. We slowed it down there. We'll see it again as it comes through in the next minute. But I mean, it lands on his elbow. So you can see it's all black. There's no grass touching that ball. And when you slow it down, you see it a little better. Bobbles it up, keeps the focus on this.
I want to see it. Okay, there it is. That's where it is. It hits his elbow right there.
Hits his elbow on the ground. There's no grass touching that ball. Corrals it.
I can't believe he caught that. I mean,
and he had the defender going up with him. I mean, that would have been a great catch if he just caught it right there. But then to bring it to the ground, keep the focus, and
that was amazing.
On his back.
That was amazing. I don't think we've ever caught anything that cool on camera, really. I just don't. And yeah, Luan, catch of the year for sure, Brian Snell. your mom says that play deserves a dance.
It does deserve a dance.
Miss Granville, that play does deserve a dance. That's so awesome. John, you said, what about that one-handed grab by South Walton's tight end? Well, yeah, Pierce Sperlin actually made play of the week for that one-handed grab.
Right, a couple weeks ago. Pierce Sperlin, I mean, he's got some hands like, none other here in the Panhandle.
Yeah, that's why he's one of the top-rated tight ends in the state of Florida. So,
right. Like I said, I'm excited to see Randy Pittman on the Seminoles, but hey, that Georgia Bulldogs team, you think they're good now,
Yeah, wait till
they're still adding some weapons, and that's one of them.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that was a great catch by Pierce Sperlin. That's why he did win play of the week. But, man, that catch, I'm sorry. Bobbles, I mean, you have to have so much.
That's one of the best plays I've seen this season.
I know. I have to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everybody else that play was awesome.
And it is upsetting to me because I was last night not in a bad way, but last night I'm at the Rutherford game, and
can we show
I'm
that one? Can we show
Romero
that
Black,
play as well,
and
Spencer?
if we can get those in, that'll be awesome. But last night I'm watching, Romero Black, and he makes this incredible run, and you'll see it as it comes through in the next few seconds, but keeps his knee off the ground, and I'm like, that's play of the week. I'm sorry. No matter what happens tomorrow, this is play of the week.
Yeah.
I got to say, this is play of the week. It's not this. He does it a couple times.
He
runs 60 yards to the house a couple times. This is just the first time.
This is just the first time he does it.
Wait till the second time. You'll see he keeps his knee off the ground. It is incredible. But then that play tonight over there in Port St. Joe, that just really kind of takes the cake there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to beat.
Honestly, let's just talk about this Rutherford game for a second before we get to that play, because I do want you to point out that play. This was a great win for Rutherford. Bozeman is a talented 1A team, and honestly, Rutherford has the size and talent to beat people this year. They didn't put it all together.
Right.
We said that. They just haven't put it all together.
Points that they've scored. They scored more in this game last night than the rest of their games combined this season. This was really when they, like you said, they put it all together, and it was exciting. It was a Thursday night game. All eyes were on them. Bozeman is a very, very good team. This one went down to the wire. Here's the run.
Here's the play.
Gets tackled, keeps his knee off the ground.
I don't know how he kept it off the ground.
Incredible.
The strength in your legs that you have to do to make sure you don't hit the ground there. Oh my gosh, look at that. Amazing.
We've had a lot of great plays. That one is worth seeing for anybody who missed it last night. That play is worth seeing, but then Port St. Joe, I mean, that catch. Those two could be, Sports Center plays, but the catch, I mean, the bobble, the focus.
That's a Sports Center play. Michelle Hodges said Pierce had another one-handed touchdown at North Florida Christian tonight. So we didn't get the highlights for that one, but I'd love to see if somebody can send those over to us to air, because that would be really cool. So if anyone has that one-handed catch, we would love to put that on the air. So just let us know. If you have the video for that. But thanks for Michelle for chiming in and letting us know that he had another one-handed.
We get enough plays. We can do our own top 10 here. News 13 top 10.
I know. We seriously
just
could.
In 1 week.
I think we could.
We really could.
I mean, this, honestly, and we've said it before, and I'm going to say it again for the viewers right now. You guys know how much we love every single Panhandle team. If I could put every 21 team on a shirt and rep them, I would, because I love them all. The talent here in the Panhandle, I really do kind of think it's the forgotten coast sometimes, because you look at all this talent and you look at guys that aren't getting recruited, and you look at guys that aren't getting calls from D1s that definitely could go D1, even top D2, top D3, could go to these top programs and aren't getting recruited, because I think sometimes people just forget the Panhandle and forget that we have some amazing football players here. Amazing.
Right. And, there's a ton of talent down there in South Florida, but I mean, it's like you said, there's so much to be said about these Panhandle Big Bend players. They just brought up in these small towns, and all they know is Friday nights and football, and I mean, it really shows. And we'll see next week, that Bluntstown Baker.
Yeah, can we go over those Week 9 games?
Atmospheres in all of high school football.
Bluntstown already brings the atmosphere. The Tigers know how to put on a ball game, so I'm excited when they host the reigning 1A state champs. That's going to be amazing to see. Okay, we're going to go over those Week 9 games for you guys. Since you guys were already discussing them in the show, but we're going to go over them here as well for you. A Thursday night game Lighthouse Christian versus Chipley. We'll see if Chipley can keep on rolling after their win over Holmes County tonight. Wakulla takes on Arnold Bay versus Choctaw. Baker v. Bluntstown, our game of the week. I'm going to say it right here on the show. If you're watching Afterburn, you got a little teaser into next week. We'll see it. Sam, we'll see you in Bluntstown. Cottondale takes on Graceville. Sneeds takes on Franklin County. Rocky Bay Christian takes on Freeport. Holmes County takes on Liberty County. That will be a good game, too.
Right.
Liberty County is on a roll right now, and Holmes County, even with a loss tonight, they're still a talented team. They still are a very, very talented team. So, honestly, that's going to be a good matchup as well. Mariana versus Northview. Mosley versus Fort Walton Beach. Walton versus North Bay Haven. South Walton takes on Rutherford. I'm kind of excited to see that South Walton-Rutherford matchup, too.
Right.
After seeing, what Rutherford could do this week. I'm actually kind of getting excited for that.
Again, Bozeman, a very quality team, and they came in and in the second half, they just pulled away like they are the team that they knew that they could be, And, they finally, like you said, figured it out. Mm-hmm. And Coach, he really is getting that team together. And I think they could, South Walton has been so good. They've been finding ways to win. But I think they can make that a competitive ball game.
I think they can,
Lots
too.
of skill players over there, so I'm excited to see that.
I think South Walton and Rutherford could be a really good game this week. Vernon takes on Wewa Hitchkin. I believe that's all the Week 9 games. Yes, that's our producer Spencer is giving me the thumbs up over there. John asks, how does talent in the Panhandle compare to talent in the North Central Florida area? Gainesville, Ocala area. Well, I actually haven't been following a lot of Gainesville, Ocala sports. I do follow a little bit because those used to be my stomping grounds over at UF, and I used to actually cover Friday Night Lights for ESPN Gainesville. So a little shout out to my ESPN Gainesville crew over there. I know, crazy. But they have some great talent over there. No knocking on them at all. But to be honest with you, I think what makes them different and what makes them notice, they're by a Division I program, right? Florida is right there. So what does it take for a Florida coach to just pop right next door? Nothing, right? So we're a little bit removed from some of the other, Tallahassee is still a couple hours away from us. So, I think because of being removed, Miami, you're not too far from, North Central Florida, and you're still not too far from obviously the Miamis and other top talented programs over there down in South Florida. So again, it comes down to what your surroundings are at. Even in Tallahassee, you have top teams in Tallahassee because again, FSU's right there. They can pull from those teams. They can get over and recruit those teams more easily. So that's why me and Sam do what we do, hopefully to get your kids noticed as well.
We're not allowed to be biased between the Panhandle teams that we go for, but when it comes to Panhandle teams versus other areas, I'm going to say Panhandle's better. Just, we're allowed to be a little biased.
We're definitely allowed to be a little biased. I think it will prove it when some Panhandle teams when Panhandle teams go in and beat those teams, like Rickards tonight.
Mosley Dolphins.
When those Panhandle teams go in and beat those teams and take them down and win state championships over them, then we start getting recognized. So, John, I hope that answered your question. Chad chimes in. Coach Buchanan has turned those Chipley Tigers around. He really has. Chipley is one of the most competitive 1A teams this season. They are giving every opponent a run for their money. They are battling every single game. Sam, you know that they have tons of D1 talent on that team as well. Coach Buchanan knows how to use it, right?
He does. And that front, on the offense and defense for Chipley is so big. They're so
really big.
And they were giving, Colby Jones that we saw him scrambling tonight, and they were giving him all kinds of fits. How often do you see Holmes County held to 0 points in one half?
Not often.
They were averaging, like 40 points a game this year?
Yeah, they're averaging a lot. They're definitely, their offense doesn't normally get shut down. And Jake Riley, their receiver, was leading the state of Florida in receiving yards for a few weeks, if that gives you any indication of how well their offense was doing this season. So to shut them down like that tonight, it shows how good this Tigers team is.
I was there for only, a quarter and a half till I had to come back. But, I mean, DeQuavius Sori on the defensive side of the ball, he was locking Jake Riley up tonight. And, had the good, dump pass to Sethany McGee early on.
It was nice.
So much talent over there. And then to pick up a win on the road in Holmes County. Like, I don't know. I tweeted out before the game, this is an electric atmosphere because I was there and, the fans were going. It was packed on both sides.
Was it better than the rodeo?
Well, I personally wasn't at the rodeo.
Oh, no. Sarah, you weren't at the rodeo? We need to get Emily on for the show.
But I will say the field still saw the signs of the rodeo. Lots of dirt kicking up, and, players were quite muddy tonight. But, a big, big win tonight for the Chipley Tigers.
Well, awesome stuff. Week 8 brought a lot of excitement. But obviously, we just showed you those Week 9 games. They're going to bring a lot of excitement, too. As always, we appreciate you guys for watching the show. This show wouldn't be anything without you guys interacting with us, talking to us, telling us who you want us to talk about, showing support for your team. That's really what makes this job, A, fun, and B, just really drives this show. So thank you guys for doing that, for watching. We'll be back for Week 9 of the season. Again,
we'll be here.
We always encourage you to watch Friday Night Fever on News 13 because you'll be able to see those highlights, and then you'll be able to obviously come here and watch the show. We don't go over the highlights most of the time on the show, so if you watch them, then you come over here and chat with us. That's the best way to do it. They go hand in hand. Why would you not want to watch Friday Night Fever if you?
They go together.
Yeah,
you can't have one without
the other.
Cue
the Grease music, they go together. Exactly. Okay, well, it is literally 11:15. You and I are tired. We've covered a lot of games. That's all the time we have for tonight. Sam and I are going to go to bed right after the show. Just find our little spot in the newsroom and go to sleep. I'm just joking. We will see you guys next week for Week 9 of the season. You guys have a lovely weekend.